Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast, episode 90, part B, I guess, right? We are back in our basement studio a day later than we planned, but we were... Night two. We were just kind of exhausted after our weekend trip and getting home yesterday, so we kind of just took it easy and decided to push it a day, so we apologize. But we're here on, what is this, Monday night?
Yes.
Ready to talk about stuff we didn't get to on part A, so I think...
Which is, I think, like some of the usual stuff.
Yeah, we already hit you with some news and rumors, so we're not going to cover that, but we're going to do AEW Dynamite, which we missed. We'll do trivia, which we didn't do. I'll talk about NXT. We didn't get to NXT UK this week, right? But and then I don't think we'll have any other wrestling business because I figure that would be the 4 nights of pay-per-views that we covered in the first part of episode 90. So hopefully you check that out if you haven't already. It's published wherever you're listening.
WrestleMania Review,
right?
Not Takeover and or the non-takeover and then
Super Card of Honor. Yep. So ROH, NXT, and WrestleMania were all covered in episode 90A. So if you haven't checked that out yet, wherever you're listening to this, that is also available. We'd appreciate you checking that out as well. I didn't tell you, but the last couple of weeks are, well, I showed you a couple days, but our downloads and listens, whatever, are doing pretty well the last couple of weeks. So thanks if you're...
Yeah, it's weird.
If you're a new listener or if you're returning listeners, we welcome all of you. But yeah, we've picked up a few... Got another follower today and been a couple days of a lot of downloads for us. So, yeah. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's still probably not that many, but for a father and son just sitting and talking about wrestling for a couple hours, I'm pretty impressed. So thanks to everybody that's been checking us out. If you think we're any good, just tell somebody else would be great. We are not very good at marketing ourselves whatsoever. I don't even think that your mom, my wife, is... She used to be putting stuff on Facebook groups, but I don't know if she's doing that anymore. And that was literally our only publicity other than you and our Instagram, which I don't think is super active. So
yeah, I'm not very good at it.
Well, at some point you might get better. We'll see. But yeah, so thanks. We really appreciate anyone that's taken time to listen to us. But I don't really have much to say in the way of banter, do you? Because we...
no, I think it's fair. We already kind of...
We bantered in 90.
A more extensive one as well.
In the first part we did. We talked about quite a bit. So... I say we get right into talking about wrestling. And again, we're going to skip the news and rumors since we covered that in the previous one. And we'll move right into talking about AEW Dynamite.
And so we opened with Adam Cole versus Christian Cage, one of my favorites, versus one of...
I was just going to say...
Christian Cage.
So you were 50% excited for this.
Who I've wrote in brackets as Outwork No One.
Outwork No One. Well, he's been sort of, like, we've talked about it, right? Like, pretty invisible, Christian Cage, that is, lately. It's just been kind of, what do you call him, Uncle Christian? Mm-hmm. With the Jurassic Express.
Which is just so weird.
He's just kind of there at this point, right? He's like, at first I thought, okay, they brought him in to speak for them because...
I don't even remember...
They struggle in that capacity, but he's not even...
got with them.
I don't either. Was he just sort of randomly... He must have...
They had that False Canadian War match, right? That was against the Super Click. I feel like it was just like they were both fighting the Elite, and then it was just like he never left. I want to say that's what it was.
And he hasn't been contributing anything. He's just kind of standing there as
typical of Christian.
But anyways, tell us about this match.
There's some holds and counters early on. Cage is hitting Cole top the corner, and Cole slips out, super kicks the leg out, and then hits a super kick while Cage is in the Tree of Woe. Cage gets feet up on a dive, and then he does those crowd count punches. Cage misses a diving headbutt because he learns nothing, and takes a super kick and a last shot to the face, which automatically makes it not winnable.
Well, because he didn't have his knee pad down, right?
Which is also making it not winnable for some reason.
Well, because it wouldn't hurt as much with his knee pad on. I think that makes sense, and commentary pointed that out, I'm pretty sure. It makes sense, right? He's got padding on his knee.
Yeah, but
makes sense
I don't
to me.
think his padding's very thick.
How would you know? Have you firmly pressed Adam Cole's knee pads before?
Yes.
I don't think you have.
Cole super kicks Cage mid-air when he was going for a middle rope diving uppercut for a 2 count. You could see that coming, but I thought it was cool.
It always looks good, I think.
I like the way he does the super kicks. They're just better.
I don't even know what the difference is, but they do always look good. Certain people, Young Bucks too, right? They always look good. I don't know what the difference is.
I think he does it different from the Bucks too, and I still really like the Bucks. So I always love the way Johnny Gargano did super kicks.
Agreed.
His were definitely distinctly different from Cole, but I think he also did them really good.
Yep.
I really like Cole because he gets them pretty crisp every time.
He does. Thigh slappage, can't even tell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty seamless. Yeah. Cole misses the last shot, takes a spear for 2. Cole hooks his leg on the bottom rope to block a kill switch, and the ref is breaking them up. He pokes Cage in the eye and hits the last shot to the back of the head with the knee pad pulled down.
So it makes all the difference.
He gets the win.
And heel tactics, the eye poke, right? Which makes sense, I guess, for Cole.
Re-drag and attack Cage until Jurassic Express make the save. Chase them off. They all leave. Hangman comes out. Cole wants to leave. He's saying some stuff I didn't catch, and Hangman takes the mic. Says he stole a title. He'll let this match serve as Cole's punishment. He says Rampage is live in Texas next week. Yes, Rampage. And they'll have a Texas death match for the title.
So
on Rampage.
We definitely have to watch Rampage then this week. I would say. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know how you felt, but I thought this started out a little underwhelming. But in hindsight, I think it's probably just because they were pacing themselves. Because I thought the second half of this was way better. Maybe even like the final 2/3 second half might be too harsh. Like the majority of the after the beginning was really good, I thought. So I ended up enjoying it. After I was a bit nervous to start, I was just wondering what was going on, but they kicked it into definite higher gear. And I mean, the aftermath is kind of more of the same of what goes on in AEW all the time. I thought the exchange between Cole and Hangman was fine, and I think that will get Rampage some attention, right? I think they're trying to draw some more viewers to that because it's kind of plateaued, I think, in ratings. So that's probably a good idea to put, like, we're a perfect example. We'll watch Rampage, and we don't always, right? So
exactly.
I think they do need to be a little bit careful about overusing the Texas Deathmatch stipulation because it feels like they're happening fast and furious, right? Didn't Archer and Page just have one?
Yeah.
I mean, they've been really entertaining, so
I'd rather like falls kind of anywhere. I'd rather like pinfall near falls rather than like you're waiting for them to get up.
I guess so.
In a last man standing match.
But they've been pretty good so far. The match should obviously be really good. I can't imagine Cole and Page having a bad match, so the stipulation can't hurt, I don't think. And I think Christian I don't really care that much, but he does feel kind of directionless at the moment, right? Like this is his first match in a while, I think, and I don't know. He wrestled a good match here, but what is he really doing story-wise? I don't know. I don't see anything. I just don't see a prominent place for him on this roster, especially they keep adding more people and sort of the novelty of Christian Cage in AEW's worn off, and I think he's just going to keep getting pushed down the card sort of thing as more people come. I don't know. We'll see what they plan. But long story short, I like this match. I thought it was a good opener by the time all said and done.
I think it was solid. I wish Cole outworked Cage more because that would have been funny. On a serious note, I think it under-delivered a bit. I just found I was kind of bored in the first half or like the first decent chunk. Pace picked up a bit. We got some more action. It was better. I think the finish was well done. Cole should have won, like, I don't know, clean or, like, I don't know, just, like, a little more decisive because it's Christian Cage. Like, come on.
Right, you shouldn't need to cheat, like, eye gouge.
It was okay, but I still think Christian, like, I think his offense, he's just getting kind of basic, and it's just, like, he's not really doing anything. He's kind of unnoticeable in AEW. Not really the kind of guy that fits in. He's not serving a purpose. Like, I don't really need him here anymore, to be honest. Like,
he's the providing a quality win for people guy, I guess, at this point.
But
sort of.
I think Cole could get better quality wins.
Yeah.
Good quality wins. The aftermath is fine. I guess Hangman's defending another Texas death match. That's fine. It should be good. Just not my preferred stipulation. It just means I have to watch Rampage, and I mean it this time. It's not one of those times where we say we're going to watch Rampage, and then we just don't get around to it.
We'll actually watch it, yeah.
Right, I will actually watch this.
I think so.
There's a recap of the Supercard of Honor main event because Samoa Joe returned. Right. That's because Samoa Joe's taking on Maxwell Caster.
Which I don't think I covered at the end of when I talked about
Owen
Supercard.
Hart tournament qualifier.
Yeah, I don't think I mentioned that Samoa Joe coming back at the end of Supercard of Honor, right? But he did, definitely. I sort of forgot about that.
I think it's kind of weird that, because like, I understand the women only getting one qualifier week, because that's all they get. But I don't know why there wasn't another Owen Hart qualifier on the show for the men tournament.
I think they're just dragging it out, right? As probably planning to have it span several weeks or months. I
find qualifiers for tournaments weird because it's just like another round of the tournament. I said this before, right? Like I feel like it's different qualifying for a multi-man match. So it's just like it's a qualifier match before that match. But like with the
but at least
with the qualifier matches, I feel like it's just like a preliminary. It's just like basically what I mean is like because the qualifier, there's no difference between qualifier and the rest of the tournament. You know?
No,
what I mean?
It's just another round.
Yeah.
But at least it puts stakes on a match that otherwise would have none, right? So that's always a little bit helpful. I mean, it's nothing major, but at least there's something there for Joe and Caster.
Yeah, this was basically squash. There was a headbutt, rapid jabs by Joe being Caster in the corner. He did that cornerback elbow and Sagiri. Caster attacked Joe from behind on the outside after a distraction from Bowens, and eventually Joe gets the win with the muscle buster.
Yeah, he hit that nicely.
After the match, we get a promo from Jay Lethal and Sanjay Dutt, who are on the Tron. It's just like on the screen there. Dutt says they won't ruin his moment like he did to them last week, as they are doing so pretty much.
Yeah.
Lethal says they have a new outlook and he'll take and say whatever he wants. He says he's been trying to reach Joe for months and he only answers to billionaires apparently. He says, or they say they respect Joe way more than he does for them, and Lethal says the student will give his teacher a big gift next week. So it's one of those segments where it's a big gift, something comes out of the box.
You think so?
I'm almost positive.
So I you didn't mention it, but I actually took some notes on Caster's rap when he entered because I thought it was really good this week. There was reference to Joe being
just this week. How dare you?
Well, usually, but this one I really like. Joe being an X Division guy and not a main event guy. There was reference to him being injury prone and not tough. That was
also funny.
And there was also reference to Joe being the NXT champion when AEW was beating them in the ratings, so sort of questioning why Tony Khan would sign him
for like a few days.
I was just gonna say like a week or something.
Yeah, a week or so.
But it's still funny. Yeah, I mean the match itself was nothing special. It was just kind of a showcase for Joe, who looked pretty good. I'm wondering how he looked quite big, and I know Samoa Joe is always a bigger guy, but he looked heavier than usual. He looked
really red.
He was super red too, right? Like sunburnt or something. Tough for me to see, but once you pointed it out, I could notice it. So it's nice to see him back in the ring, and I think Caster's a good sort of, I don't want to call him enhancement talent for this because I think he's better than that, but because he comes out ripping them with a rap, right? It sort of adds a little layer to it.
He's better like when it's the Acclaimed.
Yeah, for sure. So I don't know, and I liked the promo after. I think Lethal, I mean, he's pretty much saying, "Hey, I'm a heel," right? By saying we have a new attitude or whatever it was, which is sort of a way of saying that, but I think it's a realistic backstory, right? Is that, he's saying Samoa Joe stopped returning his calls, but apparently he'll return billionaires' calls when they want to sign him and hire him. So I think that's a realistic and simple storyline, and I'm actually really liking Lethal and Dutt. And I'm not a huge Jay Lethal guy, but I think I'm getting on board with this heel Jay Lethal. But you're definitely
a huge Sanjay Dutt guy, because who isn't?
Well, he was cool in the ring. I didn't remember him being good on the mic or not, but I think he's doing a good job. So I'm just curious to see how they're going to blend the whole AEW ROH, right? And see how much they're separate rosters and how much they bleed into each other's shows.
I know who Sanjay Dutt is. Like, I know he's from Impact. He was in the X Division when Yes. But at the same time, I have no idea who he is. Like, I know he's from there, but
right.
He's not really, known for anything.
So he was, the perennial. Now, he may have won the X Division title at some point, but he was the guy that was, always involved in those matches. But kind of like the old school version of Trey Miguel before Miguel won it. Like, he's always in the matches, right? He's always somebody in the multi-man or the Ultimate X stuff, but never really wins, but is still pretty awesome. I don't know what his role is in ROH, if he's a producer or a backstage guy, but I kind of like the pairing with Lethal, and I like their heel work so far. So I thought this was for what it was, right? It did its job, I thought.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I think Joe killed Caster as he should have. It worked. He got in some of that signature offense, which we needed to see, and that worked too. Caster didn't really do much he didn't need to. The rap was good. I like that.
It was.
Qualifier is just a formality, but it gets Joe's foot in the door before the tournament, I guess.
Yep.
Again, it's just another round of the tournament, so it just, why not just make it in the tournament, I guess?
I guess they could call it. It doesn't really make any difference, right? You can call it that if you want to, I guess, but it's the same thing, yeah.
The Dutt Lethal thing was fine. I guess I don't really care for it. I thought it was fine. It's obvious something comes out of the gift. It's a classic trope. I feel like. I don't know. If it's not that, then what's the point?
They might do something more creative, though. We'll see.
Yeah. Next we get Blackpool Combat Club interview. Mox and Danielson and Regal are interviewed. Danielson, basically, it was just that they both have matches on Rampage. Danielson's facing Trent Beretta, and Mox is facing Yuta. They talked about that a bit. Brian didn't speak, but then Regal talked about how they were impressed by Yuta. So he impressed. He impressed Regal, he impressed Danielson, so now he has to impress the hardest one to impress, which is Mox.
Right.
So, and he bled a lot, I saw. So that's
I know,
cool.
I'm going to go back and watch that maybe tonight, actually, when I don't have anything to do. So
yeah, we could.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think any Regal promo is going to be bad, and it's kind of interesting because AEW seems to have like a list of guys in that category, right? That we're just like, we're going to love their promo pretty much no matter what. Like Eddie Kingston, I'm going to love Moxley pretty much. I'm going to love Danielson at this point. So I can't say that's the same about any WWE shows, right? Like there's nobody whose promo I'd be like, stop what I'm doing, turn it up and listen. So I feel like they're almost already leaving a trail of breadcrumbs for Moxley to leave this group because Danielson gets all of the praise, right? Like even from the very first promo, he goes on and on about how amazing Danielson is, and then he's basically like, "Yeah, and I worked with Moxley too." Is pretty much what it is. And then
he's like just saying he's like a really violent guy. Like he's like still praising him, but it's definitely like now that you mention, I do agree. Like maybe it's not like getting. It'll probably be a while until it's
yes,
but definitely like I think he's praising both, but like it's definitely like seems like more to Danielson and more like personal and specific towards Danielson.
Definitely. I agree.
Right? Like I feel like Mox, it's like he's not dismissing Mox, he's not like being mean to Mox, but he's just being like more general. He's got like less to say about Mox.
Right.
And for like whether he means to or not, like it definitely is that way.
And even in this promo, he referred to Danielson as the perfect wrestler, right? So where does that leave?
I feel like he has before too.
And where does that leave Moxley in comparison then? You know what I mean?
Right.
So, it may be nothing, but AEW does this sometimes where they just little hints.
It might be one of those for sure. And it might just be like, just because Regal has more history with them. But regardless, that could...
Yes.
Like, that could
lead
provoke
to
something in Mox,
exactly.
right? That could, like, reignite that feud eventually. And then maybe, like... But I hope that... I kind of hope that doesn't happen. Because I think there's a lot of potential in the faction. So
Me too. I'm okay with it happening, but like months down the road, you know what I mean? Like let's get a bunch of this
that too
faction.
Yeah,
for a
I
while.
want something out of this faction before anything like.
Because it could be like 9 months from now. Moxley's like, you're always favoring Danielson. I'm tired of hearing about he's the perfect wrestler and blah blah blah. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I like the promo for sure.
Yeah, same. I thought it was a cool promo from these three straightforward. That's a couple matches I'm interested. Danielson versus Trent Beretta and Mox Yuta. That's cool. Regal's great here, I thought, as well. Mox, that's all he had, like, a line at the end that was solid. Next we get the Ultimate Battle. You thought Adam Cole versus Adam Page was good? We'll strap in for Shawn Spears versus Shawn Dean.
Yes, amazing. 5 stars.
And
all the stars.
It's not even like we're going SAH or SHAWN versus SEAN. We're going like SHAWN versus SHAWN, so it's the same spelling too.
It is true.
Yeah.
So at WWE would never let this happen. 2 Shawns, the audience will be confused. How could the fans ever tell them apart?
How do you choose to root for? Because they look the same and they're the same level of star.
Yes.
The funny part is they're not.
They're not. Neither of them are super important, to be honest.
Whoa. One of them is a perfect 10, all right?
And Canadian. So, he gets a little bit of a leg up in that sense.
He does. That is true.
Support our Canadian brothers.
I will support him, yes.
Yep.
This is essentially a vehicle for a storyline such as FTR versus Ass Boys. There's some corner chops by Spears, pump handle and neckbreaker onto the knee by Spears, which is kind of cool.
It was.
He does the classic squash match thing where he lifts him up before the camera and be like, haha, I'm going to beat you up.
Regrets it.
Camera cuts the backstage with security guards having been taken out. Ooh, what happened? And there's just a bicycle there.
Oh yeah, we were joking that Wardlow rode his bicycle to the arena.
Wardlow probably. Maybe he's that's them breadcrumbing. He wants to be in Blackpool Combat Club because Brian's a vegan, and so it's like
environmentally friendly. I like it.
Yeah.
That's like the tiniest breadcrumb ever.
Exactly. So I think that's what's gonna happen. So because what's gonna happen is right. So he's ditching the Pinnacle, right? He's going after MJF. And we think that because MJF is starting to accidentally screw over Spears and FTR, that they're gonna ditch him, and then they're getting all mad. But then they're like, they were just tricking Wardlow, and so they turn on Wardlow, and so the Pinnacle reforms without Wardlow, and so Wardlow joins Mox, Danielson, and Yuta, and he got accepted because he's a violent big guy who rides a bike.
And just the idea of seeing Wardlow riding a bicycle would be funny.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just so massive.
That would be really, that's
and it should be like a BMX or something that he's cruising in it with.
I don't even think it was though.
No,
that's the funny part.
It wasn't.
No, it would make more sense if it's like not quite, but like an Undertaker motorcycle kind of deal, like a motorcycle. I'm not picturing Wardlow like
No, if he's
on
joining
a
Brian though, Green.
bicycle.
If he's joining Green Daniel Bryanson, it should be like an e-bike, right? Because it's environmentally
Did you actually
friendly.
just say Daniel Bryanson again?
Probably. Who knows?
Wow.
I don't even
just
know. Names
said
are
that
hard.
again.
You know
Names
who
are
I mean.
hard. Spears is freaking out in the ring. Camera cuts to Wardlow taking in more guys, and he makes his way through the crowd. He is once again detained by security guards, but Sean rolls up Sean for the win. That is to say that Sean Dean beat Sean Spears.
Surprise win. Yeah.
And then Spears and MJF argue a bit. Spears leaves. MJF follows him. Spears not happy.
No. The whole thing was kind of telegraphed, right? Like, it's sort of what I expected. But I have to say, Wardlow attacking all the security guys did look really good. Like, he looked like a beast here, throwing these guys all over the place. So I kind of like that. And I like the idea that Wardlow's going to destroy the Pinnacle kind of from within, right? Because he not that he's in the group, but that he's not going straight after MJF. He's now creating problems for everybody else, right? FTR already acknowledged that to MJF, saying like, Wardlow's now becoming a problem for us, and he shouldn't be, right? So now he's also becoming a problem for Sean Spears, and that's kind of the way to get to MJF, right? Is that he's attacking all of his buddies and creating a problem for the other members of Pinnacle. So I kind of like that idea if that is what they're doing. And basically that none of these underlings of MJF's can do anything to stop Wardlow, right? He's just too big and powerful. So
it's all a ruse. Bicycle Wardlow for Blackpool Combat Club.
So then I think maybe the rest eventually start resenting MJF because they've like activated Wardlow, for lack of a better term. And I think that can work if that's what they're doing. So like this match wasn't anything special. It gets Dean a win on Dynamite, I guess. And I'm sure, I don't know if it's going to lead to a Wardlow Spears match or something. Like, he's going to have to fight everybody
Blackpool
to get...
Combat Club should, like, have an actual combat club, right? But then Brian kind of starts taking charge and makes it environmentally friendly. So it's like it's a combat club in nature. So it's the Blackpool Combat Cleaning Crew.
As soon as you said that, I just realized who that they should add to their faction. And you're going to agree with
Marina
me.
Shafir.
Timothy Thatcher.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, like
Bring
the
him
thing.
In. That's what made me think of it. Yes. What was it called?
That can or
no,
something.
the type of match that was his.
Oh, Fight Pit.
Right. That's what made me think of it.
Oh, they could totally do a Fight Pit. The only thing is I don't know if they're allowed to call it Fight Pit. And if they can't call it Fight Pit, I don't really care about
I haven't heard anything about Thatcher. So I don't know where he is, but
I know he was like kind of backstage a bit. I think he was like in a tryout, or like working with it. And then I know he got released.
Oh, so, I know that too, but I mean, since then, I don't know where he went.
Yeah, I don't know. The fact that we only got 2 Fight Pits is kind of sad.
Yeah, Thatcher's cool.
Yeah, I like Fight Pit.
Me too.
So it turned out to be exactly what we expected.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't much of a match, just meant to continue this Wardlow storyline. But it was good because it carries on FTR's problem from last week, which is that MJF's issues with Wardlow starting to affect the rest of the Pinnacle.
Right.
And the same happened to Spears here, except he actually took a loss here. Like, FTR kind of won in spite of it.
Yes.
Maybe it gets him on board with FTR, at least nudging in that direction, because I think it's more interesting because he's been MJF's most loyal guy, I think, throughout the whole Pinnacle.
Now that Wardlow's out, for sure.
Right, like, well, even, like, when Wardlow was there, I feel like Wardlow's always kind of, like, he's paid to be there.
True.
Right, I feel like Spears was always, like, the right-hand man.
Right.
Like, and he was always the most loyal guy to MJF, so I think that'll be more interesting for how that pans out, because, like, I feel like FTR, like, they were, like, Pinnacle guys, but, like, I feel like they do kind of morals, whereas I think Spears has generally been, like, MJF's, like, his yes man.
And you're right, Wardlow has been, like, showing us for weeks and weeks that he's not really
right, he's always been, like, really helping MJF, but, like, it's never been, like, he's, like, he's never, like, wanted to be
He's
there.
a contracted employee,
like Spears
basically.
was, like, the same, but, like, he was, like, actually, like, loyal to MJF, if you know what I mean.
Yep, that sounds right.
Next we get a best friends interview. Chuck says Yuta knows they love him, but they helped train him and get him here, and they know he wants to be the best wrestler he can be, but there's no reason he can't do it with them, considering Orange Cassidy is one of them. I don't think that's accurate. Trent Beretta says he doesn't love Yuta, and he thinks he's a scumbag and a traitor. He mentions what Danielson did to Yuta last week and tells Yuta to watch what he does to Danielson and maybe take notes. That's funny, Trent Beretta.
As if Trent.
That is funny, Trent Beretta.
So I don't know what it is, but I really like the tension between Trent and Yuta. I don't know. I just think it's really simple. It's just this whole, like, I never really accepted you in this group, and, like, he's feeling vindicated now because it looks like Yuta is on his way out. So I don't know why, but I really like it. So I don't know. Yuta, I think we talked about it. He's just getting cooler, right, in recent weeks as he's even flirting with the Blackpool Combat Club. He's just getting a little bit more personality, and I think he's coming across a lot more interesting to me. Mm-hmm. So I like this little segment.
Solid segment. Yeah, I was a little iffy on this tension at first because it felt kind of like out of the blue for me in a sense.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to like I can see both points, which makes him interesting because like he's just like trying to be the best he can be. And,
right.
Like, I think Blackpool Combat Club will offer that, but then Trent's like, I like Trent because he is like the best friends, but he's also like he's a straight shooter sometimes. Yep. Like I feel like he's like right now he's just like being like straightforward with it, right? So I think like both of them have points. And so it's also interesting how like the best friend group is, and the rest will love Yuta, and obviously one of the founding members, Trent Beretta. So it's just kind of interesting dynamic. It's also cool to see Yuta. He actually did have the ROH Pure title here.
Yes.
Had it in tow. So I hope he joins Blackpool Combat Club soon because I think
it would be a good fit.
The better direction.
Yes, because the Pure division is like, although it's not so much the violent one, it's the more technical one. So,
but still, Danielson's there. So
that's true. He is a violent technician for sure.
Yeah, you could be violent. You could find a way.
Yep.
We are shown a backstage brawl between Kingston, Touchdown, Powerful, and Jazz from earlier tonight. Air quotes. Highlights would be Eddie Kingston throwing a TV monitor
for sure the
at Jazz as they run out the doors, and then they kind of chase them off until they drive away in their car. So that when he threw an actual awesome. Like TV monitor at them, I thought that made me laugh.
Me too.
Just seems unnecessary, but it's hilarious and like very much like him.
Yep.
I thought that was really funny.
So I'm fine with this, mostly just because it gets JAS on the show, but we don't get another lengthy promo from them,
thank God.
Which I don't think we needed. So it nudges the feud along without having to hear Jericho talk for a lengthy segment. So I was completely fine with this, and Eddie throwing the TV was awesome.
That was really funny.
Yeah.
And we cut right to them. They're just walking out for an in-ring promo, which was like advertised. Kingston says they won't wait for music. He calls Jericho two-faced coward and he was running. He says he'll attack them on site regardless if they're with their wives or kids or anything. He says he knows where Garcia lives and he'll show up, attack on site. They keeps like saying on site. He'll attack them on site. I thought that was funny. Santana says they are scrubs. This is what they do and they better bring their hardest fight. Ortiz says when Jericho grows a pair, why don't they have a 6-man tag next week or not? Either way, on site. Kingston says they'll beat their asses JYD Butch Reed style. Some old match reference there. Insert old reference here. I don't know.
He said on site so much that I feel like it's going to come into play, but I can't figure out how it will. Maybe just he's going to attack them wherever he sees them, I guess. So yeah, this was good. Kingston's amazing on the mic. I was hoping for a bit more from Santana and Ortiz because they should have more personal things to say about Jericho since they were a part of his group for such a long time, right? But the intensity was good. They didn't really say anything of consequence, but the presentation was good. And Eddie Kingston can get me to believe whatever he's saying. He's fantastic. So yeah, I didn't really have a problem with this. I just was hoping for more from Santana and Ortiz directed at Jericho.
Yeah, that's fair. I really like this though. Pretty quick and to the point. Very like Eddie Kingston. Like here's just like a lunatic. I just thought like him keep going like on site. I thought that was funny. It just felt like natural, like him. I thought Santana and Ortiz are pretty good too. I think you made a valid point, but I still think they were pretty good. If we get a match next week, cool. But I'm definitely still banking on Stadium Stampede 3. That has to be a lock.
It feels like it to me.
I don't know what else we're aiming for here.
Yes,
is what I mean to say.
And also, if you think about it, what other two large groups of people are sort of on a collision course that could?
And it's like pretty It's like pretty good timing.
Exactly.
Next we get a quick hook package. There's just highlights of his buy-in match and the Rampage segment where he got the thing from QT. There are some commentary lines spliced in. Not much to say. Solid reel, but nothing like
my only note, because I don't even remember it that well now that it was 5 days away or whatever. I just have a weird little segment is my only note on it. So there's my thoughts. That's all I got.
Weird little segment.
Yep.
Did you even write that it was a hook segment? Or?
I just have hook and then my note underneath weird little segment.
That's
why you tune in, accurate. Folks. I'm bringing you the deep analysis of this.
The best of the best,
right?
Folks.
Who else?
That's why our downloads have been spiking. The best of the best right here, right?
Weird little segment's gonna get us another 1,000 downloads.
At
least, I would assume. At
least.
Yep.
Next we got a Jade Cargill interview on the stage, on the top of the stage, where she jumps off, doing her best Jeff Hardy impression.
Nope. Not yet.
Cargill says to Tony to cut the crap, and she's here to introduce her baddie section and tells the cameraman to do his job. So it cuts to them. Sterling says it was difficult to find good-looking people in Boston, but Cargill's hardworking, and she did it. Sterling says play isn't allowed in the baddie section, and she may be a badass, but she isn't a baddie. She says we should call her number 30. No, we'll call her play. And she's sick of MMA losers coming in. Facts.
Fair
I
enough.
agree.
Yep.
Cargill says play may call herself the problem, but she's the problem solver.
Ooh.
I thought that was a good line, but I've never heard her called a problem in my entire life.
I think that's her new gimmick coming.
I guess so. I guess she's been on Dark. So.
And if you're new to FNS Wrestling, play is in fact Marina Shafir. We're just referring to her
as her true nickname.
Persona from NXT. Not even her persona, the shirt
her
she wore
t-shirt
that we thought was funny. I really liked Jade's attitude here. I think she's really starting to grow as a character, and if she can sort of keep improving in the ring, they definitely have something. I think she's, at this point, I'm going to confidently say she's good on the mic and in this character. I like her attitude, like when she grabs the mic from Sterling and tells him to give her space. I thought that was cool. And I think they kind of handled her well. They protected her on the mic for a long time, right? Only giving her 1 or 2 lines at a time. Now it feels like they're starting to let her do a little bit more. I think she's doing a really good job. And I mean, she 100% has the look that any company would want. And I think she's really good in this character. So I think that they have something with her. And she just needs to keep, by all accounts, she works really hard. She loves wrestling. She's in it for the right reasons. So I don't see any reason why she's not, a top star in the next 12 to 18 months for this company. Before WWE throws every cent they have at her when she's a free agent, probably.
Right.
But yeah, I like this.
Yeah, I liked it again. It was a different segment you could easily distinguish from any other one, so I'll appreciate that fact at least. I think, but the promo was solid. I thought the baddie section was funny. Remember, you saw that random guy.
Oh yeah, when they show the baddies, and then there's like some. I don't mean to be mean, but like your stereotypical wrestling fan
or like
dude.
a guy who's like the opposite of that.
Right. So they have all these beautiful people in theory, and then this guy, it's just kind of they caught him at the front of the group, and it made me laugh because it was the opposite of what you would expect.
That was funny, and the final line from Cargill was good too. Still do not care about this, but this was a solid segment. MJF and Spears get a promo. Spears says, I think he said that Wardlow's pissing up the wrong tree.
Yes.
MJ says he prays Wardlow shows up next week, so there'll be twice as much security and pain. I assume double the posters too, maybe even posters not on the hard cam side, dare I say.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Possible.
He mocks Sean Dean and challenges him to a match next week. Ooh, he's walking on dangerous ground right there.
For sure.
And says there will be no upset next week, but there could be.
There definitely could be. It's all possible.
MJF shouts about the monitor not working as he walks off, which is funny because that's the one that Kingston threw, so I thought that was kind of funny.
And then I thought there was like a hint of Spears doesn't seem to appreciate MJF like taking over the promo.
I didn't catch that.
So I think maybe that makes sense, and maybe that's a little tease. Like everybody is sort of tiring of MJF's antics a little bit. So I don't know if I'm just reading too much into it, but yeah, it was solid. Obviously, with MJF speaking is always good.
Yeah, I thought it was solid. I thought both of them spoke well. I didn't even notice until MJF mentioned it, but after he was yelling about the monitor, I thought that was pretty funny. That they just Kingston must have grabbed it from there and threw it at them, and they just put it back.
Right.
I think that's kind of funny. Next, we get my favorite match of the year. Step aside, Young Bucks, FTR, and other team, Briscoes. This is the best one.
This
of the 3
match was confusing.
So good.
It was confusing.
I thought you meant to say so good.
So I think the problem is
it was bad.
I think the rules of the match were actually different from what commentary told us. Because commentary told us that you're eliminated when you go through the table, right?
No, they kept saying it had to be an offensive maneuver.
No, but then when it was an offensive maneuver, Jeff was supposed to be eliminated.
He was.
But I don't think he was.
He was.
Anyways, go ahead and
so was Butcher, and then they just, because no disqualifications, they just came back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were eliminated, but then it just they just kind of were
But then you come back and do the finishing move to win the match, even though you were eliminated?
Yeah, I don't know why Matt wasn't eliminated and came back, just to help set it up.
And why do you choose to eliminate the biggest star in the match basically really quickly, right?
It's the most popular.
Well, that's what I mean, yeah. But anyway, sorry, talk about the match first, I guess.
This is the best tag match of the month.
No, not even of this hour of the show.
The best tag match of the half hour.
Mm-hmm.
Haha. Dive botch by Jeff as he falls from a dive before Blade even gets there, because he's on the turnbuckles, and so he's meant to be thrown off by Blade, but he kind of just like stumbles and falls before Blade even gets there.
Yes.
There's a fisherman neckbreaker by Blade. Jeff kind of goes through the table, just kind of falls flat, and it was half set up, so he's eliminated from that, but he'll be back.
He sure
because, will. Leg drop through a table by Matt to eliminate Butcher, but he just kind of gets up after he's been taken out, and he's just like, I kind of want to stick around.
Yeah, I guess so.
Matt misses an apron dive, goes through a table. That's not an elimination. Bunch of stuff on the outside, mainly basic shots, few twists of fates. Also, ladder comes out. I don't know why.
Because Hardy's.
Jeff does a big swanton off of the top of the ladder. Surprising.
Obviously.
I know.
First
time. They make their way down. He puts Blade through a table. And they win.
Yeah.
And then Offo comes down.
Right.
Sting comes out. Andrade's afraid of Sting. Uses Bunny as a shield because Sting's old, so he's scary.
He's got nothing to lose.
Yep.
I thought this was a not very long and pretty pedestrian ladder match. Not even a ladder match, or tables match, sorry. But honestly, it was just to set up the Jeff Hardy off the ladder spot that we've all seen 1,000 times. And again, like the guy that was eliminated quote unquote, comes back to pick up the win for his team in this match. So I thought that was kind of confusing, and if you want to have Hardy hit that spot to win the match, I think there's better ways to do it than have him eliminated and come back. But anyways,
maybe don't do that.
The match was nothing special at all. I did not really enjoy it, and again, in a tag team division that is absolutely stacked with awesome teams, these are not the folks that I would give the time to. So, and in the aftermath, again, I say it every week, love Andrade, don't like this faction or the angle he's in right now, and I hope they have long-range plans for him because he's a star. We all know he's a star.
Running away from Sting because that's the right thing to do.
This is not the way to use Andrade. So yes, This was a disappointing AEW match. Like this was, I did not enjoy this.
I would say it was not good. I wouldn't call it disappointing because I didn't expect it to be good.
I guess, yeah.
This was boring, just a mediocre at best slow tables match. The climax at Jeff Hardy spot we've seen so many times.
Mm-hmm.
Too much wandering around with basic stuff. Just felt like it dragged on. The pace was very bad. Bunch of missed spots to go through a table, and then commentary kept saying it has to be an offensive maneuver.
Oh my god, they must have said that 18 times.
The one table spot too, where Jeff went through it, just kind of fell flat. Looked kind of lame. Like that's how he got eliminated. That was just like lame. The post-match crap was lame too. Andrade looks like an idiot, like cowering from Sting.
Yes. Oh, that was the table where instead of the table breaking, the legs just sort of collapsed, right?
And then went flat.
Yeah, the table didn't really break. Yes, exactly. I remember.
Next we get Cage and Jurassic Express segment. Cage pours water on his face and then just walks off because he's kind of angry, I guess. I hope he quits. Jungle Boy says Re-Dragon are one of the best teams in the world, but in AEW the rankings matter. Or the records. I guess
kinda.
They usually do.
They do, but yeah.
And theirs isn't good enough to challenge for the titles, but since Re-Dragon keep getting involved in their business, they'll challenge Re-Dragon to a match next week. On Dynamite, put the tag titles on the line. Luchasaurus says dragons and dinosaurs and does like a snarl. I thought that's kind of funny. Like the line, not the snarl, because he does that all the time.
So I'm hopeful for you because Christian's super mad, right? And Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus don't care. They like let him storm off and just continue to cut a promo. So hopefully that's...
They kind of like take notes for like a second, but
then we're like whatever, move on. So maybe that's cracks in their little group because they just let him walk away. But I thought Jungle Boy sounded pretty good here. And like talking's the final piece of the puzzle for him, right? So it makes sense that they're going to let him try and talk a little bit here and there because that's all he really needs. And maybe a character tweak because I don't know how long you can do like Jungle Boy, a Tarzan person as a character. But I don't know. This was fine. It wasn't amazing or anything, but I'm wondering if the whole ignoring Christian when he's angry is a sign of things to come, hopefully.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't even think about that, but that's like a good point. They just kind of like I don't want to say like they ignored it, but like it's clearly like wasn't worth not doing their promo for, right?
And it wasn't like it was an important, profound promo either, really, right?
Right. So. It was like they were just like, oh, where are you going? Come back. And then they just cut a promo.
Oh, please stop. Don't go.
Where are you going?
Right.
It feels like one of those things like where you like, where have I seen that in a show? Oh, okay, I remember. Right. It was that one episode of The Office, right? And I think it was like when they had the work bus. And remember, Daryl and Clark are sitting at the table outside. And I think the work bus leaves for like the pies or whatever. And they're just like, stop.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
Like some one of those kind of things. And I remember that.
Yep.
I pulled that like way out of my mind. Solid promo. I'm really excited for this match. I think it'll be cool because it'll be like a little more focused on Red Dragon because that 3-way match I really liked, but I feel like this will be cool also.
Yeah, it should be good for sure.
Kind of similar logic to the Hangman Cole thing, but I'm fine with that. Another cool match for sure.
Yep.
Thunder Rosa and Anna Rose promo package. They just exchanged some words, didn't catch much of it, but basically they're just having a title match at the second Battle of the Belt show. I thought it was solid. I enjoyed the back and forth style. Everyone spoke fine. Nothing super interesting. I'm just not super invested. But should be a solid match for Battle of Belts 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Yep. Excuse me. Neither one of them said much here, but they both sounded pretty good. And just, as I always seem to say lately, Nyla doesn't need Vicky. Vicky's not adding anything for me because I think
she does make her more vicious.
I think Nyla's perfectly fine talking, right? Like she's good
yeah,
on the mic.
Yeah, she's never going to be like great, but I think she'll survive on her own, and like I don't think like it's let me put it like I don't think she's like super good, and I don't think Vicky's super good either, but I don't think like I don't think Vicky can do a better job than Nyla can do on her own. Like I feel like Nyla will do just as well on the mic with or without Vicky.
And if the presentation was Nyla's the silent monster and that Vicky speaks for her, but that's not really what they're doing anymore, so I don't feel like Vicky's really adding anything at this point. But anyways, doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it would for sure be different if they had like established that kind of dynamic, but they didn't.
Nope.
Next we get one of the most interesting segments I've ever seen in my entire life between two of my favorite wrestlers that I like, Tony Storm and Jamie Hayter promo. So
they do. It's true.
Because they are the only two qualified for the tournament, so that means they have to talk. Hayter says she hopes they face off in the tournament because all the momentum and popularity of Storm stops with her because she's winning the tournament. Storm says this has just begun. Wow, that was awesome. It was fine. I can't say I want to see this at all.
I'm intrigued a little.
I think it's interesting because when it comes to Tony Storm, I do hate her.
So, I see what you did there. I thought it was good intensity from both of them. It was super short. I'm interested in it because sometimes I think Hayter looks good and sometimes I don't. So I'm trying to make up my mind of whether I like her or not or think she's good. And Tony Storm, you are not, but I am willing to give her a chance because I know I've seen her have good matches before. So I haven't sort of given up on her. So I'm interested to see this match because I'm still kind of formulating my opinions on each of them. So we'll see where it goes. But yeah, I thought it was fine. It was really quick.
Yeah, it just felt like kind of like random. Like I feel like, I mean, I don't like Storm, but like honest, like just like unbiased, I don't think we really need this. Like it's just like they're the two, like they're the only two in the tournament, like, and they'll maybe face off. Like I feel like it's like I don't know, it's weird. Like they're the only two, and
reminder
like, it's like it's not really necessary. Like I feel like it's like the qualifiers just starts. So of course they're the only ones in. I don't know.
I think it was just a reminder of who's qualified because I had kind of forgotten.
Speaking of women's match of the week,
what a choice!
Karushita versus Julia Hart.
And did you notice she was starting to show some like makeup under the patch, like whatever Malachi has?
I feel like I did notice it, but I forgot.
There was a hint of her having similar whatever makeup.
Yeah, I think I'm not like I'm open to it, I guess, but I feel like they could have done better choices for a female House of Black member.
Well, considering I don't want to watch her wrestle, and this match is sort of evidence. It's not my favorite addition to the House of Black for sure.
Where have they been, man? I haven't like.
Where's Abaddon? Wouldn't she fit better?
She's almost like too.
So they could dial her back a bit. We haven't seen her in so long.
Yeah, but I feel like the House of Black, it's like kind of supernatural, but like it's not like supernatural. It's more like just like dark and like, but like Black's like intelligence. I mean, I feel like Abaddon's like kind of like a monster, like fiend type character.
I
where
know.
It's like
they should sign. I just figured it out.
I feel like it's like Abaddon's like the fiend. Black is more like a Wyatt family, Bray Wyatt. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like that.
So how about Max the Impaler? That's what I want. I miss Max the Impaler.
I don't know.
I don't know what they're doing.
Are they a monster too?
Yes, they are a monster, but I don't know.
At least it's not like supernatural.
Max
you could
is
do that.
cool.
I don't know. I'm feeling like I don't know who, but like I feel like someone else. I'm trying to think. Like I don't know. but...
And I think they're going for the irony of...
someone dark, but, like, intelligent.
I think they're going with the irony of Julia Hart is this very young, like, cute, blonde, whatever. Like, it wouldn't seem like she'd fit there, so I don't know. But anyways, talk about this match.
Yeah, it was mediocre. Hart attacks right at the bell, chokes Sheeta on the ropes, tells Varsity Blondes to leave, even though they did nothing. But, I mean, if I had to go around walking around with Brian Pillman Jr., I'd probably tell him to leave every time, too.
She sends them away, right?
Is just wailing on Hart wailing on Hart with shots post-commercial break. Stalling suplex by Sheeta. Outside into reflection from the middle rope by Sheeta for 2. Spinning knee, which sort of hit. And a Falcon Arrow by Sheeta for the win. Post-match, Deeb's music hits. Sheeta turns around, Deeb with a chair, but Sheeta has candlestick, so they kind of have a standoff. Deeb leaves. That was happening.
Yeah, Deeb looked crazy in this. I liked it, but that was my favorite part of this. I just don't think Julia Hart's very good at this point. Not to say she can't be, but she's really young and green, right? So, and again, another kind of short-ish women's match with a 3-minute commercial in the middle. So I'm not going to, I mean, if you listen to the show, I complain about that every week, so I won't say too much about it. But I think Hart sending her team to the back and showing some heel tendencies, I think we're getting that clearer indication that she's probably going to be joining the House of Black at some point. But I'm not sure what she's going to add to the group, right? Like, I don't know
exactly
what she brings to the group, even though, like, anyways, I guess we'll see. We can trust AEW still at this point. And I did like the weapon standoff at the end, just as a reminder of the Deeb Sheeta feud is still happening, and it's like a blood feud at this point. So that was, maybe it's going to lead to a weapons match or no DQ.
We keep saying maybe it'll lead to the final match. It's been like months.
And it's not bothering me, though. Even though some of the matches haven't been that great.
It's kind of been bothering me. Like, I feel like it's like a slow build for, like, no reason. It's not like a Hangman thing where it was working. I feel like it's like they just do stuff some weeks and then, like, it's just kind of ignored.
Yeah, because they don't put a lot of the women on, right? So unfortunately, even a normal length feud is going to be drawn out when there's one match and maybe a segment or two every week. But anyways, I'm still looking forward to, quote unquote, the final match.
You're telling me they had to put a Tony Storm, Jamie Hayter segment just because they're in a tournament and not like stuff for this? Like, it's, I don't know, it's just kind of weird.
Yeah, it's interesting how they budget their women's time on this show sometimes.
I honestly don't get why we can't get like one more match, like, because this match was just like, you shortened it. Like, this is pretty short, so like, why not put in like A, another short one, or B, a medium length one?
Right.
Like something better. Like, I don't know. And
get rid of that tables match. And
I'm not even saying. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm not even saying like has to be like a weekly thing, but like,
no,
if like you can, or if like one of your matches isn't super like, if one of your matches is like this, why not put another one in? Like, it doesn't have to be a consistent thing, but it should be like fairly often. I feel like
I don't want to have to go to the internet to see these women wrestle, right? Because I won't. If it's not on TV, I'm probably not going to see it. So one match a week that's cut off with commercials isn't enough for me. But
exactly. This is fine. Mediocre match interrupted by commercial break. Nothing super interesting. Hart should have been a difference, sending Varsity Blondes to the back, but even then she's pretty similar. If she showed more change, the commercial break likely cut it off.
Mm-hmm.
The deep part was actually interesting. I hope we get that match soon. Maybe something happens in the tournament to set up more, because now she's occupied with this. So again, it gets dragged out. And
right.
Of course. So next we get Swerve interview. Talks about going to the Grammy Awards on Sunday. Now he hasn't forgotten by the attacks from Ricky Starks and Hobbs. Then he leaves, goes into a room, gets attacked by Starks and Hobbs. Keith Lee shows up to help Swerve. They kind of get into a brawl, and Lee pounces Hobbs through like a partition or like a part of the
flimsiest looking wall.
A classic breakaway wall in wrestling.
Yeah, I thought Swerve sounded really cool here, but the brawl afterward looked kind of cheesy to me, because it was like the camera was really up close and the sound was really clear, so it seemed extra fake looking, right? Like, it was harder to suspend my disbelief during this. And I say it pretty much every week, right? This feud doesn't really interest me, and it just continues to linger and not really move forward. So I don't think it's doing Swerve and Keith Lee any favors. Like, it's not making them look like they were some huge free agent signings, right? Like, they're toiling against...
Which they are, so it's kind of weird.
They're toiling against a faction that never accomplishes anything at this point, right? So I just want them to get there. They should obviously pick up... I'm feeling like we're going to get a tag match, and then, I don't know, it's going to drag out.
But
I want them to move on.
I think it's next week. I don't know.
Right. I hope they move on soon.
Yeah, same. This was fine. Promo was fine from Swerve. Brawl was there. I think still definitely wasted time for Swerve and Lee. Swerve also faced QT on the last Rampage, so it's like he's following Lee's route. Yes. It's kind of funny. The wall bit was kind of cool, but like also just like clearly contrived.
Yes.
Next we got our main event, which is the Young Bucks versus FTR for the AAA and Ring of Honor tag titles. Notables. Nick threw his headband at Dax. He shoved it in his trunks and threw it at Matt, who's on the apron.
Made me laugh.
Nick trips Dax when he runs the ropes, then Cash trips him out, and he does the same. They all brawl in the ring. Simultaneous sharpshooters by FTR. Bucks eventually get free. Nick super kicks Dax on the apron as Cash nearly makes a hot tag. I thought this was cool because like Nick had been sent to the apron, so he's on the same side as Dax. As Cash is about to go for the tag, he super kicks him off, so that's kind of cool. Dax hard gets a solid hot tag flurry. Yeah, had a pile driver for 2 at one point. At one point there was like a fast gory bomb by Cash for 2, which is after a frenzy.
And he did it way better than Kaylee Ray does. And I love Kaylee Ray, but this
KLR bomb.
It looked much more forceful.
Mm-hmm. Smash contraption by the Young Bucks after a low blow for 2. How dare they? So that was pretty interesting. Mm-hmm. Then they hit more bang for your buck for a near fall. BT trigger, and it's a 3 count for the Bucks, but the ref notices after the Cash goes filling the ropes. So the match continues. Bucks thought they won, but then it's explained. Bucks go for a Meltzer driver. Dax catches Nick at a midair to hit a slingshot powerbomb as Cash counters Matt and hit a tombstone. Then FTR hit a BTE trigger, or you could call it an FTR trigger, and a smash contraption for the win to retain both sets of the belts.
What a match. I mean, this kind of saved this show for me. I wasn't a big fan of the show up to this point, but this match, like I could watch these two teams wrestle all day long. Just amazing back and forth action, super hot crowd to enhance everything, right? And I mean, this was more enjoyable than anything I saw in WrestleMania, and I really liked a couple matches, but I thought this was better. What a few days for FTR, right? I've now added their match from Supercard of Honor and this to like our growing list of match of the year candidates for 2022 because I love this match as well.
Was that already FTR made it twice?
Yes. So they're like on top of the tag team world right now, in my opinion. A huge quality win for them, right? Because it's been this thing that they can't beat the Bucks.
I wouldn't even mind if they had won the tag titles right now in AEW because like I don't know, like I know you were saying the Acclaimed a while ago, but like I really like, or I guess Red Dragon, but like given like that there doesn't seem like a definite answer to like give it to, or like I mean like sorry, like you know like when Bucks and Omega were champions, they were like or like Baker too, there were definite choices, like you knew who had to be the next one. I don't feel like there is that right now. I feel like there's some good options.
Right, for Jurassic, for sure. I don't see who.
And so FTR is super hot right now. They're killing it. Why not make them tag belt collectors? Mm-hmm. Like I think that'd be cool. I would love that. And I think for them to be first 2-time tag champs would be kind of cool. I think it's a good time for them. Like I feel like if they want to do that, they should do that now because I don't know like when another good time for them to win the titles. And I feel like their reign was kind of short. I remember it being because it went from All Out to Full Gear in 2020, which is like a few months.
Yes, and Jurassic Express aren't doing anything to elevate those titles for me right now.
Exactly that.
And FTR
it'd be different if I was enjoying them a lot. Like sure, I like that 3-way match a lot, but that was like other than that, it was like a lot of Rampage matches, feuding with Gun Club. Mm-hmm. Like I think like FTR could do a lot more, and it's a really hot period for them. Like you said, they just won the tag titles from Briscoes, which was a hot match. They've had this hot match.
And they are now super over as baby faces.
Exactly. So not only that, but it would be like a popular win. Like I sure it'd be a babyface to babyface transition, but if it works, it works.
I think that FTR are the best tag team in the world right now, and they're finally getting the huge push that they deserve. Because we've always been saying like, unfortunately for them a little bit, they were that team that could keep having amazing matches and not win, right? And it didn't seem to hurt them, but now they've sort of put in their time and they're getting the push that they deserve.
They're so good at the heel tactics. Like that was one of their things that I know you liked a lot in NXT and like even like early AEW. Like so I think it's really weird how good they still work as babyfaces. Yes. Like it's really weird to me because I think on paper they shouldn't have been this good as babyfaces. I think they were like really good heels, but it's still like working better, and arguably this is their best stretch so far.
They're kind of like tag team Bryan Danielson, right? Like they can kind of do whatever you need them to do.
And they're fantastic in the ring.
Yep.
Violent. Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair comparison.
And just, again, I'm thankful for a company that likes tag team wrestling and realizes how amazing it can be.
You're not getting this anywhere else.
No,
like, not anywhere mainstream.
Not
that's
at
for
all.
Sure.
So a fantastic main event to a show that, for me, otherwise had some lackluster matches, which we'll talk about when
the pseudo...
we go overall.
I guess you could call it the Dynamite after Mania. This was a good match to go out on.
Great main event.
Yeah, I thought it was a great match. I enjoyed the finish to their first match more. I'll always remember that finish, like where Cash had to resort to the springboard 450 and then he missed and that's how they lost. Like I thought that was just like the perfect ending. This may have been better than that first match though. I'm not sure yet. It might be recency bias because I have not seen the first match since it happened.
This was amazing.
But man, this was good. I think that finish to the first match will always be just like one that I'll remember because I think it was cool because it was just like, I don't know, like if poetic's the right term, but it just made sense. It worked. It just kind of like had everything come full circle. I think them using like the BT trigger to beat the Bucks, like and with the smash contraption was cool too. So I think
it was
all around this was really cool. I kind of wish it was like a 2 or 3 falls or something like, or you could do that on pay per view. I guess I would like this like, because if you think about it, they're at one apiece. I don't want to like have to do that trope. I feel like you definitely could do that. Like,
oh yeah,
if FTR win the tag titles, we need this on pay per view.
Yes,
or something.
Absolutely.
Just to like finish it off. If they don't win the titles, you can just kind of pause this again because that's kind of what they did.
Yep.
And then I think if they win the titles, you go at this one more time.
And even a match of that magnitude, you could argue, doesn't even need the titles, right? Because there's already enough at stake.
For sure.
So if you don't,
right?
But yes, that match
because we've already had title matches for both.
Right.
Thoughts on the show as a whole?
It was kind of a tough one for me to grade. So I liked the opener. I don't think it was amazing, but I did enjoy it. I love the main event. Absolutely loved it. But then in between, it's like Samoa Joe match that was just a showcase for him, nothing special. Tables match that missed the mark for me. Sheeta Hart match that I don't think was very good. And a Spears Dean match that was nothing really. So segment-wise, things were pretty good. Nothing blew me away. Like I liked Jade's promo and the Eddie Kingston thing with the TV throwing. But I don't know. Tony Khan overhyped this, right? He was talking about that this was like pay-per-view quality show, and if you look at that rundown of matches, of course
I think the main event definitely warrants that, absolutely. Yes. But like, because I remember you kept telling me that, and I was like, sure. Right. Yeah, you kept telling me like it's supposed to be this, and I was like, yeah, okay.
It definitely was not. But so I gave it a B- show, and that's largely due to the fantastic. Like it was kind of on pace for almost a C-level show for me before the main event kind of brought up the grade for sure. Overhyped by Tony Khan, but still. At the end of the day, I never regret watching AEW, right? Like I'm always happy that I watched it. So
never really a slog.
No, we got a pay-per-view quality main event, but the rest of the show was pretty underwhelming for me. So a B-, which is a low grade for Dynamite, really.
Yeah, I think it's fair. I think the opener was pretty good, but kind of underwhelming or like under-delivering, so to speak. I think the squash was good, but not really like good wrestling because at the end of the day that is a squash, so it's not really like wow. I mean, like even if it's good, it's not really like a wrestling plus, I would say.
Right.
I think the Spears Dean wasn't like good wrestling again, but served a good purpose at least. Tables match was boring. Women's match kind of sucked. Main event was awesome. I think the main event definitely saves the show a lot. I really liked it. I enjoyed the Kingston Proud and Powerful stuff, both parts where he threw the TV and the promo itself. I thought that was cool. Blackpool Combat Club I like the Best Friend stuff. I think Cargill's promo was good. MJ Sean Spears was alright. The Jurassic Express promo was solid. The women's segments were alright. Swerve Team Taz segment was solid too. I think overall a below average show. I think B- rating is pretty fair. I think the main event definitely saves a lot because it was really good. Like one of the
awesome.
Best TV matches since Danielson Hangman.
Like that's one of those ones. Like if you didn't watch Dynamite, go find this match. I would highly recommend.
Yes, for sure. Absolutely.
Awesome. All right, well that's wrapping up our Dynamite review, and we're gonna move into a little bit of trivia and what we like to call off the top of his head. All right, so this week we are taking a look at special guest appearances, all WWE. You ready?
Yeah.
I think there's 20-ish, maybe 22 or something questions. So, starting out easy, which former American president has made multiple appearances on WWE?
Donald Trump.
Correct.
Best of the best.
Well, some Americans would argue that he is still the president. Anyways, number 2. Which popular American actor got inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2015?
Schwarzenegger?
Correct.
I guess because I knew he was in the Attitude Era a little bit, but I also know he was I think he was a 2K16 pre-order bonus or DLC.
Nice. The video games sometimes help you with this trivia. Let's see. This is getting a little more obscure now. Which English footballer, so to us that's a soccer player, was involved in a clash with Bad News Barrett on Raw in Manchester? I have options if you want them.
I should know. Okay, yeah.
Because you might recognize when you hear it, right?
Yeah.
So David Beckham, Wayne Rooney, Steven Gerrard, I don't know, or Frank Lampard.
I'll go Beckham, I guess.
It is not Beckham.
It's a Gerrard.
Wayne Rooney.
The one I wasn't going to guess.
Which famous boxer was involved in a WrestleMania match versus The Big Show in 2008?
Floyd Mayweather.
Correct. I had a feeling. They're going from easy to hard and back again. So I think this one will be easy. Which NBA star served as an enforcer in a match between Chris Jericho and The Big Show on Raw?
Shaq.
Correct. Which American actor was a guest on Monday Night Raw via Skype in 2012? I have options if you'd like.
Sure.
Ashton Kutcher, Neil Patrick Harris, Charlie Sheen, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Charlie Sheen.
Correct. Because he was a big deal for a little while there. He went a little bit, had some severe mental health issues, and they tried to parlay that into some money and appearances, I guess. Which of these reality TV stars had a match at WrestleMania and won?
Snooki?
Yeah, I was going to say, do you even need the list? It was.
I
Snooki.
don't even know if she's a reality star. I just know she was.
She actually shocked me with some athleticism in that match. Like, I was expecting it to be, like, awful, but it was only pretty bad, you know? Which of these civil rights activists made an appearance as a guest host on Monday Night Raw to discuss education reform? I would not know this one. Options?
I'll take options.
Reverend Al Sharpton, Oprah Winfrey, Louis Farrakhan, or John Lewis?
Oprah, I guess.
No, Reverend Al Sharpton.
Let's give me my second guess.
Which popular comedy actor featured as a guest host on Monday Night Raw but only appeared backstage and never performed for the crowd in 2010? Do you want options?
Sure.
Charlie Sheen, Ashton Kutcher, Adam Sandler, Ben Stiller.
Stiller.
No, Kutcher. Which 2 actors appeared on Raw as hosts to promote their film The Goods Live Hard, Sell Hard? I would never get this.
I have no clue.
I'll give you options. You can guess. Kevin James, Adam Sandler, Jeremy Piven, Ken Jeong.
Yeah, that.
You're correct.
I just remember seeing Ken Jeong on.
Yep.
For some reason.
You got it. Which NASCAR driver? Because I know you love NASCAR.
I know his name, but I don't remember what it was.
So which NASCAR driver is infamously known for calling Kofi Kingston Koff Johnston while hosting Monday Night Raw? Options? You might recognize the name. Joey Logano, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, Eric Jones.
Kyle Busch.
Correct. Who was the first guest star on Monday Night Raw?
Like ever?
I think so. And I have options.
I don't know.
Batista, Beyonce, Donald Trump.
Oh, for the guest GM. I think it was Batista.
Taylor Lautner.
For the guest GM.
You're right.
It was Batista.
It was.
Yeah.
Oh, was it guest GM and they didn't put that? They said guest star, but okay. Yes. Which billionaire rapper has made a WWE appearance? Ready? Here's the list. Sean Jay-Z Carter, Sean Diddy Combs, Dr. Dre, or Kanye West?
Second one.
Sean Combs is correct. Very good. Which of these African American comedians made an appearance on Raw in September 2009?
Cedric the Entertainer.
Wow. Didn't even need the list. Very good. Which famous American talk show host made an appearance on Raw in February 2015? Want options?
Yeah.
David Letterman, James Corden, Jerry Springer, Jimmy Kimmel.
Corden.
Springer.
Damn it.
In 2011, Pitbull made an appearance as a guest on Raw. Which of the following women accompanied him? Wow, these are hard. Ready?
Yeah.
Jennifer Lopez, Maya, Selena Gomez, Shakira.
Go over the first ones again.
Lopez, Maya, Gomez, Shakira.
Lopez.
Maya. How dare you? You think you know wrestling. These are some obscure ones. This famous American singer has made guest appearances in 2 different WWE decades. Interesting. Do you want the options?
Yeah.
So they are Dolly Parton, Cyndi Lauper, Aretha Franklin, Celine Dion.
Oh, I think it's Franklin or Lauper. I'll go Lauper.
Correct. Very good. Which of these Los Angeles rappers was featured as a guest on WWE? Kendrick Lamar, Tupac Shakur, Snoop Dogg, or Ice Cube?
Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg is correct. He loves the wrestling, eh?
Because he's...
What was the move he did that was so awful? Was it a
splash? That was in AEW.
Yeah, I know. But was it a splash? It was awful.
Well, and he's Sasha Banks' cousin.
True. True or false? The only people to appear as guests on WWE Raw in 2019 are Michael Shea and Colin Jost. I think are they from Saturday Night Live?
Yeah, they were in the Andre Battle Royal, and they had the thing with Strowman.
So they were the only...
And there was the car, which was a toy.
Only people as guests on Raw in 2019. True or false?
True.
It is true. And again, I don't know if they mean guest GM, because they weren't GMs, were they? Anyways,
no.
That was a stupid angle they did anyways. Which of these WWE superstars appeared on Raw playing the role of Santa Claus? I could get this one without the hints. Do you want the options?
Oh, wait. Say it again.
I actually remembered this. Which superstar appeared on Raw playing the role of Santa Claus?
Austin?
No.
Cena?
No. Undertaker, Kane, Foley, Big Show.
Big Show.
No, it was Foley, man. I remember that one.
Oh, because Foley's Christmas.
He loves Christmas,
yeah.
Yes. Which of these Marvel actors, oh boy, has appeared on WWE Raw as a guest host?
Hugh Jackman.
Is not one of the options.
Damn it. I know he punched Dolph Ziggler.
He did. It actually was a good looking punch, too.
Batista, does he count?
Tom Holland, Robert Downey Jr., Bradley Cooper, Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd?
No.
Downey?
No.
Holland?
No. Cooper. Bradley
Cooper?
Apparently.
That's so weird. And the funny, he's only like a voice actor too. He just voice acts like
is that right?
The raccoon from Guardians. That's him.
All right. Yeah. Last one. There has only been one guest appearance. What does this even mean? There has only been one guest appearance at O2 Arena. Who hosted? Does that mean anything to you?
I don't know.
What does O2 Arena
is. I think it's in UK. I don't know.
Maybe Germany. Anyways, that was sort of a hint, I'm guessing. So your options are David Hasselhoff, Michael Caine, Jay Serra, or Seth Rogen.
I'll go with Rogen.
It is not.
Hasselhoff.
Correct. That's why I'm guessing maybe it's Germany.
Hasselhoff.
He's a big deal there. So that was hard, man. That was a very difficult off the top of his head. You did pretty well on them. But anyways, we're going to transition back, I think, into our last segment where we are going to, mostly me, talk about another episode of WWE NXT 2.0. Okay, time for my lovely review of NXT 2.0, which is always a chore. And as I've said, if ROH ends up getting some sort of TV or even internet show, I will probably review that and watch it with you and ditch NXT. But until then, this show starts with a highlight video from Stand and Deliver, and then also has to cut to highlights of Breakker defeating Ziggler to win back the NXT Championship on Raw the night before, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So Braun Breakker starts out, he comes out to speak. He puts over WrestleMania, the fans, winning back the title, etc. Imperium then walk out. Walter gets in the ring, addresses Breakker, and we basically, long story, very short, end up with the Breakker-Walter main event for the NXT Championship tonight.
I think Walter should have won, and then Breakker had a one-day reign.
Right. So Breakker in this was given really generic stuff to say. I think his delivery was okay. He's not great, but I guess he's passable or a little bit better on the mic. And this is me before knowing what happened at the end. If this match leads to Walter losing clean, I will be annoyed because Walter should be built into a major threat. And this feud feels like it's just being hot-shotted, which is a shame. But I guess now that we know Imperium's been called up, right, or at least 2/3 of Imperium have been called up, it kind of makes a bit more sense. But at the time, I was thinking, this is quote unquote money match for NXT, right? Like if you want to really push Braun Breaker, Walter is an awesome opponent for him. So I felt like they were giving it away.
Now it kind
really
of makes sense.
It does, right? In hindsight. Then we get the Creeds. They defeat Imperium in what I thought was a really good match. The end was a little bit strange. So Eichner worked a lot to start this match, and he looked great, as he always does. Bartel got busted open somewhere along the way, and then Eichner walked off mid-match as Imperium was setting up for that combination kick to upside down. One of the Creeds was hanging upside down. So I think it's Bartel hits the drop kick from inside the ring, right? And then Eichner kind of hits a drive-by, and instead of the drive-by, he just walked right by and left. So he leaves Bartel alone, and obviously Bartel can't take both Creeds on his own, so he ends up losing fairly quickly to the sliding clothesline from the Creeds. So after the match, we get masked attackers dressed in black. They take out the Creeds, and they reveal themselves to be Pretty Deadly from NXT UK, but with new names that I didn't even write down. Do you remember what they were?
One of them is...
You can look it up for me if you want. You can check that out.
Yeah, I can probably find it easily.
So yeah, they show up. They were the people I assume that attacked them in the parking lot. I'm gonna dropping hints
it was them?
about who. No, I assume they are the ones that attacked.
No,
they didn't say.
Are.
So I thought the match was very good, but the departure of Eichner kind of came out of nowhere. Again, in hindsight, it makes sense because Eichner did not get called up as part of Imperium, so I'm hoping they have something for him. I really didn't notice much dissension between them.
Okay, so Lewis Howley is Elton Prince.
Right.
And Sam Stoker is Kit Wilson.
Right. So again, names that they had already given people that they're changing for I don't know what reason.
I find it interesting. So when you click on Lewis Howley, so his handle's changed to Elton Prince, and then his name in his bio is Elton Prince as well. But then Kit Wilson, his bio still reads Sam Stoker.
Weird. So I like Pretty Deadly. I think they'll be a good heel addition to the tag team division. And I assume it might be they're turning the Creeds babyface. Not even turning's a strong word. I've never really known if Diamond Mine or heel or babyface. It feels like they're positioning them as babyface at this point. I think Pretty Deadly have improved a lot in the ring, and they're really good being obnoxious heels. So we'll see where that goes. We then get Gigi Dolan and JC Jane. They get their chance to speak. They're mad at Gonzalez and Kai and Wendy Chu. They blame Wendy Chu for costing them the match and the titles at Stand and Deliver. I think Wendy Chu threw a smoothie in their face or whatever on the pre-show. I didn't watch it, but I believe that is what happened. So this was a very short promo, but these two are not good at all. They don't seem to be getting any better as far as I'm concerned. They don't seem comfortable or believable in this gimmick. I think it's time for the Toxic Attraction experiment to end, I would suggest. I don't think it's...
Even though it just kind of...
is starting again.
Got shot in the arm again.
Yes, it did. So Cameron Grimes comes to the ring in street clothes with the North American Championship. He talks about making good on his promise to his dad and that his dad is somewhere smiling. He praises the fans, talks more about his dad and how hard he has worked to accomplish everything he has. He's proud to be the champ, but he's not going to get complacent. He uses his catch to the moon catchphrase that I don't really enjoy. And then Solo Sikoa interrupts him from the ramp. He congratulates Grimes, but says now the hard part becomes keeping the title. He ends up challenging Grimes, and somewhere along the line, he did use the term bloodline in there. Sikoa did, so I don't know if that's a little something, but Grimes' response is that he basically respects Sikoa, because I think Sikoa is still positioned as a babyface at this point, and so is Grimes. So he respects Sikoa, but he needs to defend the title against the best, so he accepts this challenge. And I think Grimes did a great job with this sincere. He's now, like, whatever they give him, he does a really good job. So he's now this really sincere, believable babyface. I thought he was really good here. And Sikoa's fine. I'm not thrilled about a match between these two, but it makes sense. You're getting your experienced veteran taking on one of the youth, which seems to be the formula for NXT.
Calling it Sikoa wins.
I can't say that I'm surprised, right? But again, it's funny because Sikoa's making reference to the bloodline remember when he first debuted and he was doing the whole, like, I was abandoned by my family, so I had to grow up on the streets, and I was joking about, what's he saying? The Usos and Roman, like, kicked him out of the family.
Ditched him because they didn't like him.
So maybe they're going to take him back now. So we get Gacy and Harland. Gacy talks about family and having someone to trust. It's imperative to success, and not having family leads to self-destruction, which will make sense at the end of this show. Draco Anthony is watching this in the locker room. Zion Quinn walks in and says something like, I I don't know, you don't have to listen to them or whatever. Draco gets mad right away, tells Quinn not to tell him what to do, and Quinn says he'll teach Draco a lesson. So neither Zion Quinn nor Draco Anthony are very good at speaking here, and I don't really care about a match between the two of them because there's not much chance it's going to be good. And Gacy seems to be treading water. He's really pulled back from the woke character, and now he's just like a pretty standard
a calm psycho,
a cult leader guy who's recruiting people, almost like Bray Wyatt-ish kind of deal, back in NXT form at least. So I don't know. I'm still okay with it, but they seem to have lost the whole woke character, which I thought was a bit interesting depending how they used it. We then get a recap of the embarrassingly bad Who's the Hotter couple nonsense, where Index were voted hottest couple with I think 89% of the vote at Stand and Deliver, and so that's going to lead to Loomis and Hudson having a match next, but it's not next because Mackenzie has to talk to Tiffany Stratton first. Basically, Stratton is mad at Saray, and then I think it was like Stratton said that Saray came out and interfered in her match, and Mackenzie corrects her and says it was the Warrior of the Sun. Is that Saray's nickname?
Yep.
Right? And then Stratton was funny because she said something like, it's really, don't interrupt, it's rude or something like that. Anyways, I actually think Tiffany Stratton is pretty good. Her character work, she's been given a tough character, but she's doing a lot with it, I think. And she has massive potential because even in ring, like, she's not terrible. She's just working quick matches. She has a couple cool looking moves. I think she's pretty believable in this character. So I think there's a lot of potential in Tiffany Stratton, I'm happy to say. We then do get the Loomis Duke Hudson match that wasn't next, and it's mostly brawling and basic stuff for the most part. Lots of rest holds so that we can get shots of the women talking trash to each other at ringside, right? Because Persia and Indy are both there. Commentary tell us that Loomis is feeling the love as he goes off on one of his flurries, ending with a spinebuster, basically implying that he's motivated by Indy Hartwell being there looking at him, sort of thing. The men battle to pull each other into the ring post as they're on the floor. The two women get involved in this tug of war. Both of the men end up running into the post, and it ends in a double countout. So it was kind of a nothing match, made even worse by a double countout finish. So it feels like, I guess it's one of those, it's more about the angle than the match, but that's not usually my favorite. So I thought something else, I thought it was going to be about the angle after the match, but it just cuts away and there's nothing else. So it just kind of ended as a count out and we're gone. Immediately cuts away to Mackenzie talking to Raquel Gonzalez. I can still call her that, I guess, for a minute. And Dakota Kai. So it is Gonzalez and Kai. They are responding to Toxic Attraction from earlier tonight. They're not really worried and they know that Toxic Attraction are scared, basically saying that they are the best again. So it's still no explanation of why these two are suddenly so okay with each other after having a bitter feud and breaking up and like attacking each other with shovels. They're just best friends again with no real explanation. I guess that won't last long, right? Based on what we know now. But Kai attacked, I was just saying that, yes, the shovel attack, but all is forgiven, I guess. Imperium minus Eichner are backstage. Bartel seems to be mad about Eichner leaving, but Walter is not too worried about it. He thinks they need to figure things out, and Walter is focused on Braun Breaker ahead of the title match. But before that, we get Toxic Attraction taking on Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai for the NXT Women's Tag Team Championship. So Wendy Chu comes down at one point again, but this time Mandy Rose runs interference, runs her into the ring steps. The ref obviously gets distracted by this. Gonzalez's leg gets taken out as she's trying to go for the Chingona bomb. And then Toxic Attraction hit their double team finisher. That's kind of like the total elimination or whatever their version is, I think it was. And they actually pin Raquel Gonzalez as she's on her way out to main roster anyways. And Toxic Attraction win the titles back as they just try and unravel everything they accomplished at Stand and Deliver, it feels like. To be honest, I did think this was a pretty good tag team match. You had a clear heel babyface dynamic that I like. I was surprised by the title change, and at that point I was wondering what it would lead to, but obviously Gonzalez is gone, and Dakota Kai is getting a title shot against Mandy Rose. I really think there's a chance Dakota Kai wins the title, by the way, which would be awesome.
That would be. It's too late though,
because she seems to have ditched the ridiculous character where she's talking to people and she's unhinged or whatever they were going for. She seems to have sort of ditched that. So there were a couple rough spots in this match early on. Nothing major, though. I thought it had a good pace to it. The finish didn't really bother me, but the timing of it does. And then at that time, I thought unless they put it into a decent story, but it's not. It's just because Gonzalez is on her way out, so she took the pin there. Then we go back to Gacy and Harland. Gacy talks about chaos erupting and reaching out for your family. Lots of talk of family, foreshadowing the end of this show. And he says when you can't control chaos, chaos controls you. So now in just an absolutely horrible segment, like one that was so bad I almost wanted you to watch it, because the crowd turns on this too, and you know the NXT crowd seems to support everything. Right. So it's AJ Gallant. Again, I don't know who this guy is, and I looked him up, and it still didn't really tell me much about him. So he tells us who he is. He wants us to look him up, which I tried to. He's nothing important, I don't think. He introduces Tony D'Angelo, who comes out in a suit. AJ says there's a card on the table with Tony's blood that signifies he's ready to become the Dawn. When his blood hit the card, he entered the unbreakable oath, and if he breaks it, he'll leave on his back. His loyalty can never be questioned. AJ then puts a pinky ring on Tony and announces that he is now the new Dawn of NXT. The crowd hates this and chants boring, and they're right. This was awful. I feel like this AJ Gallant guy got sort of lost in his promo at one point and forgot what he was supposed to do. And I don't understand. So if you're the Dawn, right, it's like you're the head of this giant crime organization and family.
It's kind of weird.
But
is NXT a crime?
And Tony D'Angelo's never with anybody, right? So who is he representing exactly?
Yeah.
The Dawn of NXT? I don't know. It's just they're leaning further into the Italian stereotype that I already hate. And I think they're trying to get over this new Dawn of NXT nickname for D'Angelo. So I thought this was terrible. Terrible segment that even the crowd that loves everything on NXT turned on this segment, and I don't blame them. MSK are then talking to Mackenzie before what's-his-face Carter got released. So they appreciate being champs more this time around. The Creeds didn't take the pinfall in the triple threat, but now you've got Pretty Deadly here too. Walter interrupts in a sling, and this ends up basically with Waller, not Walter, comes in with a sling because he's selling that injury from the elbow drop on the ladder that did look pretty crazy at Stand and Deliver. So all of a sudden we're setting up a Waller Sanga match. I think it sounds like they were getting a title match when Waller is healthy, but now the belts have been stripped off of MSK obviously, so we'll see where this goes. I thought it was fine, but it feels like a really sudden change of direction for Grayson Waller, who's now a tag team wrestler.
With like one of the classic he's like an Omos guy.
Right, and I think maybe it's a good idea because I imagine they need to hide Sanga a little bit.
Isn't it kind of ironic that Waller was making fun of Styles for like losing Omos and the whole Omos thing, and now he's kind of in the same
doing
position?
A similar thing, yes. So being in a team might be a good thing for Sanga because I don't know how good of a worker he is at this point. But I guess
we didn't really see much of him in Veer as an indexture.
Veer has arrived though.
He has, actually, yeah.
So I guess this match won't happen since Carter got fired, and we'll see what direction they go from there. So Dakota Kai is mad and destroying stuff backstage. She yells that Mandy Rose is not safe, and it seems like kayfabe Dakota Kai's mental health is just a mess at this point, but we can hope she gets better. So then we get the match I was trying to get you to watch with me, Nikita Lyons versus Last Legend. It was under 5 minutes. It wasn't very good, but it wasn't absolutely terrible either. Lash got some time on offense. Some of her things looked pretty bad, but some things she showed some pretty clear athleticism as well. Her selling and all of the other little things are still pretty weak, and she probably shouldn't be on TV at this point. Lyons is okay. She hit her kicks and a superplex at one point, and then the tornado kick and the silly little splits leg drop thing that she does for the finish. Sadly, a pretty standard NXT match at this point. Nothing worth watching at all. Lash Legend needs a lot of work, and Lyons hasn't been super impressive either at this point.
So, that is mean.
So Tony D'Angelo and AJ, whatever his name is, Gallant, walk out, start talking about what to do.
Is he someone from their system, or is he someone from the outside world?
He's somebody from the outside world.
Really?
What to do next for dinner. Legato is there. Santos Escobar congratulates Tony on becoming the Dawn. Escobar says
if it means anything.
Escobar says he's used to being a boss, a jefe, and has some advice for Tony. Keep your business out of Legato's, and everything will be okay. So I think Legato, and specifically Escobar, might be turning babyface, and I'm kind of okay with it.
How does that make sense?
The crowd wants to cheer for Escobar lately, right? And
Why?
Who else do they have for babyfaces right now that are good in the singles?
But how are they like?
Just simply that you're looking at it as if this company's going to actually write a story. This was probably literally him turning babyface. That's as creative as they get.
Is him
He had a conversation with the heel. Right. So instant babyface. He deserves a push. He's one of the most talented performers there. So if a babyface turn is going to get him that push, then I'm fine with it. I thought Escobar did a good job here. They can heat him up pretty quickly. I'm not really sure about Mendoza and Wild, though. They kind of seem like it's hard because they just lose all the time, right? And they've been an afterthought for so long. Anyways, we get a promo from Kushida after a recap of Von Wagner ripping Jiro's jacket. He says Von Wagner made a mistake when he attacked Jacket Time and destroyed Jiro's jacket. The jacket was a part of Jiro, and again, they remind us that it's his identity. But Kushida is not afraid of Wagner. Wagner's time is up.
As he shouldn't be.
And poor Kushida, right? His stock's fallen, and now he's just going to be fodder for what? My notes.
For Von Wagner.
My notes are the barely watchable Von Wagner.
I still hate him, and I haven't seen him in however long. Right. I still hate him with a passion.
Main event time, Walter versus Braun Breaker.
Compare this to the Dynamite main event, I dare you.
Yeah. This match was actually pretty good, I must say. Breaker sells an injured arm or injured shoulder. Walter targets it for a bit. Breaker spears Walter as he comes off the middle rope. They battle a little bit more. Breaker just picks up Walter and hits his press slam finisher for the win. So then it ends with Rick Steiner appears on the Tron, calls
the most random appearance ever.
Yes, and he calls Braun Bronson, and we see that he's like
Bronson Reichsteiner.
Super cartoony. He's like got rope around him, and he's in a cage as the camera pulls back.
It's NXT. Come on, like.
So Gacy and Harland are there, and obviously this is the reveal of why they were talking about family so much. Gacy talks about teaching this old dog new tricks as the show ends.
You mean Dogface Gremlins?
Yes. I actually thought this was a pretty good TV main event, despite it was a pretty sudden finish. Could have been even better with a little bit of build or some kind of story involved, so that's kind of frustrating. Felt a little bit more like the Walter I love, because the mystique is kind of dripping away from Walter at this point. But this was a little bit of a reminder. But I mean, having him lose clean in a match that had no build is not where I would.
Breaker to that finisher.
Right, but again, he's on to main roster, so I guess it makes sense in hindsight. Breaker showed yet again, like he can hang with top talent. I do think he is a talented performer. And I guess Gacy's now a kidnapper ahead of what seems like a feud or at least an angle with Breaker, which I don't like. I think Gacy's fine in the ring, but he's not been presented like any sort of main event talent, right? So it seems like
when his finisher's a handspring clothesline, not like.
It seems like a sudden elevation for him, but I guess we'll see where it goes.
Almost like if they made a main roster mid-carder run the show for like a month.
It feels like he's a placeholder challenger, right? But
not. I would say like below that, like a weak placeholder challenger at that.
So I'm wondering if Braun's going to have to deal with Harland first or how that's going to play out. But anyways.
I feel like that might hurt Harland because I don't think like they want either to lose, but of course Breaker's the champion. So like.
So I had what was my plan for, because I want the index thing to end so badly, I would like it to get to the point where Indy Hartwell breaks up with Dexter Lumis. He's heartbroken and like, because, like cult leaders generally target people who are unhappy and depressed and whatever.
Like in a vulnerable state.
Right. So exactly. So that Gacy could target Lumis and Lumis could join and be like this silent monster tag team with Harland for a bit. And he could hide, if Harland is as green as I think he is, he could sort of hide Harland a bit because Lumis isn't. I'm not saying Lumis is Bryan Danielson, but he's not bad.
How does Indy break up with Lumis? And it doesn't have to be logical, clearly, because... Why be smart?
Right. I just want it over. So that's my fantasy booking of that. Overall, another standard episode of NXT, which is not really a good thing. We got a decent opener, but with a kind of a lame finish. A good women's tag team match, actually, despite the sort of hot potatoing of the titles, I guess. And a good main event. We got an ordinary Lumis Hudson match that I didn't really enjoy, and a pretty weak Lions Lash Legend match. Lots of Gacy and Harland popping up in this show as we headed for their main event angle. We had a terrible Tony D'Angelo segment that even the NXT crowd turned on, and an Imperium split, and a strong babyface Grimes segment. So a little bit better than the average NXT, actually, I would have to say. So I gave it a solid, quote unquote, for NXT. It was a C this week. So there was a bunch of things that didn't actually feel like a waste of time, but as always, there's a few things that are. So the good usually gets overshadowed by the bad for me. So a C show, which is higher than an average grade for NXT this week. And I think that's it, right?
I believe so.
You don't have any figuring it out this week? And
no, I was going to cover my stuff, but we kind of talked about in the Banter 90
Oh, yeah, we did.
so...
Yeah, we did. So you can check out
not
that.
really anything there.
And then any other wrestling business, we'll just consider that all the pay-per-view stuff we already talked about. So I think we're going to wrap up.
Most of the stuff that would be on the end, ironically, was the stuff we did first.
Exactly. So we'll get back to our normal setup, I think, this week. So episode 91 will be coming out on Saturday. It should be back to
I don't think it was 89, but like, was it 89? Because I know we did another two-parter recently.
We have. We've done
Was it 89? It might have been.
I think so.
So it might have been a bit since we've done normal. So I guess we'll be whole again next week for...
Because I don't think we have any big plans. It's Easter weekend, so I think we'll have the time.
If anything, there's more time.
Right.
Double long weekend.
Right. So we should be back on Saturday, episode 91, in our normal order.
There might be Battle of the Belts. I don't know if that's next weekend. I want to say it is, but it's either next weekend or next weekend. Battle of the Belts 2.
Nice.
Electric Boogaloo.
So hopefully you all come and join us for that. We really do appreciate any time you spend listening to us ramble on about wrestling.
Hopefully the 2 parts and whatnot wasn't too confusing with this being a Monday also.
Yes, so. Hopefully you don't mind waiting till Monday to hear this, and we appreciate if you did listen at all. Any feedback you'd like to send us is always welcome. fnswrestling@gmail.com or on Instagram at fns_wrestling_podcast. Or leave a comment on YouTube or any other way you'd like. I promise you will get a reply. Always love to hear from anyone, whether it's positive, negative, just your own thoughts on the world of wrestling. Whatever you want to send us, I will send you a reply, I promise. But anyways, thanks for joining us. We hope to see you back here on Saturday for episode 91. And until then, take care.